Hi, this is Kathy Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to Progressive Classroom, June of 2022, our cozy. It's summertime. We're doing so much outside. It's picnics, it's reunions, it's cookouts, it's sleepovers, all kinds of great fun. And I like to do cozies. Everybody loves them. You can make them personal. You can just make them all different, kind of like a wine charm. That way, whether you have bottles or cans, people don't leave drinks around. It's half a drink. It also has the advantage of keeping them cool, and also it keeps it from sweating on your tables. So let's look at how we're going to do this. Now we're going to look at two different types of cozy. There is the one for cans, and there's also one that is for bottles. So in order to do this, what I did is I took pictures of them, because to digitize these, we're going to have to kind of look at how do we. Now the cans are easy. We don't even have to take a picture. We can, and I'll show you. But the bottle is where the tricks are. So let's look at the bottle first. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to load a backdrop. So I'm going to go to backdrop over on your left hand toolbar. I'm going to go to my desktop and I have a folder. If I come on down, there it is. Oops, that's not, well, this will work. This will work just fine. It's the same picture. I'm going to open this up. Now, this is huge. It's 42 inches wide and 56 inches high. We know that that is not realistic. Now, the trick is a good picture that isn't skewed. If you're taking a picture, now I took this with my cell phone, but what you need to do is you need to make sure that your phone's not at an angle. So what I try to do is line up with one of the edges on the mat. I try to line that up with my phone. So if we look at some of these, let me go ahead and turn this one off. Oh, let me load backdrop, excuse me. I'm going to load the backdrop and I'm just going to delete the backdrop. Let's go ahead and load backdrop again. Let's go back to our desktop. Let's go back to our cozy. There we go. And I did take the image 3 times. So I looked at them. That one I think was the best. In fact, see how that one's a little bit, notice how it kind of went to the side. I want it as square as possible. So if you have the ability to, you have one of those little goodies that you can hook your cell phone in where you can have it at, a 90-degree angle over your cutting table or cutting board, you'll get a good true picture. Otherwise, this doesn't work if your picture is skewed. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to right mouse click and I am going to define the scale of this. Now I'm going to go define scale and I'm going to go across the bottom. And I measured that, and on the cozy, that is 4.5 inches wide. So what this is going to do, since I measured that section, it's going to resize everything, holding the ratio. So I'm going to say OK. And now let's put it to fit. Now you notice if I take my little ruler now, I measure across here. I've got my 4.5. Now I'm going to measure straight up. Now this is just a hair short because it's really 7.02 inches tall. So that means my picture wasn't exact, but that's close enough that we can work with it. And this is how you deal with taking pictures of anybody's logo or anything. You just measure one aspect of it and then you can make it all fit. So I could actually go right mouse click and I could say define scale again, and I could go from here to here. And I could say that's not 6.96 inches. That is 7. It's about 7.02 is what it is. Somewhere in there. I'm going to say okay. So that made it taller. Now let's see what it did to my bottom. See if I'm still okay here. Yep, we're still 4.5 there. Everything is good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to digitize this. Now what I'm going to do is I do everything first with artwork. Let's go ahead and turn off our grid in the back. We've already got enough noise in our eyes. And that is that icon on the left-hand toolbar that says show or hide grid. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. You can also, by right mouse clicking along your ruler bar, you can also set up, if you want your grid in inches or metric, you can go to grid settings and tell it, my grid is set at 1/2 inch right now. I could set it at 1 inch, whatever, but you can see that you have all the options to create your grid as you so choose. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up and get my artwork tool, and it's going to say, okay, Kathy, what do you want to do? Well, I'm just going to go with a straight line. This isn't round or curvy enough that I need to worry about it, so I'm going to left mouse click. Now I'm going to do this a little bit strange, and you'll see why. I'm going to go ahead and start at the bottom here. I'm going to do a left mouse click, and I am going to follow this picture right up the side. Now you can buy cozy blanks, I'm sorry. I call them koozies or cozies. A cozy blank, you can buy those. But always remember to give your dealer first right of refusal. Before you go out and buy one, check with your dealer and see if by chance your dealer can get these for you. Buy whatever you can from your dealer so you can keep them open. Now I just did one side, and I'm going to right mouse click. That is going to go ahead and leave that. I'm going to come over to the left side, and I'm going to do the same thing. But I'm making it in 3 segments, and you'll see why in a moment. So we're going to come down. Okay, now I'm all the way down again. Right mouse click. Now I'm going to come across the bottom. I'm going to left mouse click here. And I'm going to come all the way across and left mouse click here. So I just did a series of left mouse clicks to create these lines. When I finish a line, I right mouse click and it's done. So let's come on to our left hand toolbar at the bottom. I'm going to toggle view. I'm going to turn my backdrop off. Now you'll notice you can see everywhere that I click the mouse. That's because I have snap to anchors selected. I'm going to deselect that. Now this is pretty much the shape because I followed the shape of the cozy. So now that I have this, remember this is artwork. And if we come over into the sequence view, you'll see I have a right side, a left side, and the bottom. So for this piece, I'm going to grab all this and I am going to come down, and on my first item on my bottom toolbar, the bottom left, is a run stitch. So I'm going to left mouse click on that run stitch. I'm going to change my stitch length to about a 3.0. This is just a placement line, and apply that. So now you will notice I have got all 3 pieces. So what will happen is this will stitch out direct. Let me turn off the artwork so you don't have to see it. This will stitch out directly onto my perfect stick cutaway. So there's the one side. It's going to come across, do the other side, and across the bottom. There we go. Perfect. Now you see this looks a little bit, doesn't look exactly symmetrical. So I don't know if the cozy is not symmetrical so much. Let's turn our artwork back on and let's see what I did. Well, I can see there that that's a little bit off the edge. So what I can do is select it. And then my third icon down is my shape. So all those points that I clicked on, I can go ahead and, just kind of reshape those if I need to. This one needs to come in just a little bit. So you can see you can kind of play with it and you can repair it. And if you have a place that you think you need another point to pull or push from, all you have to do is simply right mouse click on the line, right mouse click, and I can add a point. And now I've got this point. If I just needed one in that specific place, I've got a point that I can now play with. So now let's see if I like that better. I see one right here. I'm going to add a little point here too. Let's add a point there. I'm going to pull this one out just a hair. And you don't have to get so crazy, but I just want to go through, what we can do here. Now I hit enter. That's all real. Let's go ahead and toggle off. It looks a little bit more symmetrical there. And it doesn't matter if it's perfect. Okay, close, no cigar. Let me pull this one out. This one needs to be a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now that I have this will stitch out our placement line. Then we will create our design and put it in here. So what I did is I used our You Design It. I use these a lot. And I came in here and I went to create these things. I went to stick figures. Now if you don't have this, if you haven't purchased any design cards for your You Design It collection, it only has the monsters in it. But know that these can be purchased as individual design collections and go in there. Now I came down and on this one I picked this skirt. So there's my skirt. Now I need a top. So I came down and the top I picked, because this was my avatar for this one. Let's see, I wanted a top. There we go. I picked this top. So it'll add the top. So now I need to come up and I'm going to add my left hand. So I'm going to look at what's in the left hand and I'm going to give myself this little sewing basket. Then I'm going to tell it I want to look at the right hand. And I'm going to come down and I think, yep, I'm going to add a ruler. So now I need a head. So let's go for heads. And I picked this head. Well, was that the head I picked? Nope. I picked this one. Picked the girl with a hippie band on. So I've picked a head. Now I don't like the color. Don't worry about that. I'll show you. I don't know why in our You Design It collection some of these faces, if you look at the color, it says it's 110. It is not. Some of them look great and some of them look hideous, but we can fix that very easily. Now I'm going to come down and I need a left ear and a right ear. So let's go for our left ear and I'm just going to pick the third guy down. Then I'm going to go to the right ear and I'm going to pick the third guy down. Her ears are symmetrical on this one. And then I'm going to go to the face. So now I need a face. So I came down and I picked a face where this one, I picked this one. So there is the avatar. I'm great. So I'm going to say okay. Now when she comes in on her own page. She's not in the page where I was, but that's okay. But the first thing I'm going to do before I copy and paste her is I'm going to come on down until I find her face right here. And I'm going to change that color. I'm going to change her to maybe I don't know. Let's just give her a better color. There we go. That's a good color. So there's her face. Now she is finished. So I'm going to go ahead and say select all items. I'm going to right mouse click copy. I'm going to come back to this design and I'm going to right mouse click. Well, maybe I am. Come on, baby. Right mouse click. She doesn't want to do it. Give her a second here. Okay, let's go back. It's right mouse click. She's acting crazy. Let's try a right mouse click here. I'm going to copy. Maybe I didn't get the copy command good. Maybe that's why. Right mouse click. Well, this is crazy. I am stitches. Everything's good. Right mouse click and paste. There we go. She was just being stubborn. So now I'm going to move her into place. Now remember, I'm going to have a seam allowance here on the sides. And I did make her just a hair smaller, not a lot, just a little bit. And you can make that decision depending on how much space you need. There we go. So there she is. There's my avatar. Now what I need to do is I'm going to put this together in the hoop. I'll be doggoned if I'm going to sew this on a machine when I can have it in the hoop already. Now to do this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select what I've got right here. I'm going to select this. I'm going to select the left side. Holding my control key, I'm going to select the right side. I am not going to select the bottom because I'm not going to sew across the bottom. I'm just going to sew the sides together. So now that I've selected that, I'm going to come up to my contour, not create outlines. I want to contour. I'm going to contour this, and I'm going to contour to the inside, and I can decide what I want. And I think I'm going to do 0.12. That's about 1/8 of an inch in, more or less. So I'm going to say OK. And you notice it created a line right on the inside of that. Now you could even do that line. So let's undo as our friend. There you go. Let's repeat that process that we just did. Let's select the left side. Holding our control key, select the right side. Come up to our contour. And I could say maybe I want this to be 1/4 of an inch. Now I would not do this any bigger than 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I can say OK, and there that is. I can see she's going to clear it. She's going to clear the seam lines. I might want to move her just a hair. So what I'm going to do, because she's in pieces, you can see she's in pieces. So what I want to, somehow I copied that. Let's see what I did here. I wonder if I copied and pasted all of her on her to herself. Let's see. Oh no, undo is my friend. I must have done something crazy here, so we're going to delete this one. I must have, when I was playing all that copy paste getting, I must have done something crazy. So let's make sure that we only have one of everything, and we can see that in our sequence view. Okay, I just duplicated only the blouse. Okay, we're good. So now I'm going to come over to my left-hand toolbar. The second tool is lasso. Now I'm just going to lasso around my little girl here. Let's hope I didn't cut off her foot. Let's see. Nope, I got her all. Now that I have all of her, notice right here at the bottom, that is a group ungroup icon. I'm just going to left mouse click, and now she's grouped, so when I grab her all at once. And I might just move her just a hair over. There we go. And that centers her nicely. Now these last two lines I've got here, I want you to note, when you contour, even though I contoured stitches, all it did was draw the artwork for me. So now with this artwork, I'm going to have to select it. I'm going to tell it, I want you to be a run stitch. But I'm going to come over here and say I want you to have a 3-point stitch length. You could even do a 3.5 on this. So let's go ahead and do a 3.5. 3.0, 3.5, either one is fine. Now I'm going to say apply that, but I'm not going to keep it as a single run. I'm going to check my stitch length first. Once I have a stitch length, when I go up to the run extras, I'm going to make this a bean style. What stitch length this bean is going to use is the stitch length that you had already selected. So I'm going to go bean. I just want 3 repeats. I don't want anything fancy. And I'm going to apply that. So now this last stitch is a bean. So let's look at what we've got. We're going to come in here. Let me close the artwork off. Let's get rid of any artwork. We don't want to see any artwork. Okay. We're going to come in here and we are going to close this artwork. I said, I closed the stitches. That's what I did. Okay. Now we're going to stitch this directly onto our stabilizer. I'm going to stick my cozy down, and I'm going to use the back because this is a larger design. I'm not going to stick the front down. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and stitch out my design. So I'm going to stitch out the whole design until I finish it. Now once I finish the design, there it is. Let me back up a couple of stitches. There, plus it one. Stop, pause. Let me go backwards. There, okay. Now that I've got this, I'm going to remove my hoop from the machine very carefully. And you're going to fold your cozy up so your right sides are together. You're going to tape it well, and you'll see that in the construction video. You'll see all the construction portions. So watch these before you actually do. I mean, you can create your design, but go through the videos before you actually start stitching. Once I have that taped up and making sure none of the tape is in my seam lines. Now you notice I didn't have it come across the bottom because we don't stitch across the bottom of a cozy. It has to be open. We're just going to stitch the sides together. So I'll fold that up, and our finish will be, this will be our finish. So now it's here. We're going to fold it up and stitch those sides, and now you will have a completed cozy. It's a cool lesson. It's a fun lesson. The real important thing is working with the picture or the artwork to get it the size of the actual item. Now let's come back and get a new piece of paper. Let's go ahead and go to our backdrop tool again. And I'm going to load a backdrop, and I'm going to go back to my desktop, but I'm not going to go in the one that says cozy. I'm going to go to the one that says PC June, and I'm going to go into the pictures folder. You know what? You're not going to see them because they're not JPEGs. Bless my heart. Okay. Well, let me just show you what you got to do if you're using a cell phone. You might as well learn. I'm going to go ahead and go to my desktop. And I want this as a list. And I'm going to go to my PC. Let's see, right here. It should be up here. PC June of 2022. Let's go to the pictures. And I'm going to bring up in these pictures this one. Now, when I double click on it, this is an HEIC. Well, that one doesn't look good. Let's not get that one. This is an HEIC format, which the software doesn't read. It's what our cell phones take, or my iPhone anyway. So let me go ahead and put this as icons. And let me find the one. Bless my heart. Here we go. And I want pictures. And I want to see if that, there it is. This one right here. See, it's an HEIC. Your software is not going to read that. It reads PNGs, it reads JPEGs, bitmaps, but not this. So I'm going to double click on it. And with it open, I'm going to say File, Export. And when you do that, notice it comes up as a JPEG. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this as a JPEG in that first cozy folder that I had. So that makes it a JPEG. And when I save it, now let's close this down and let's go again. Let's go here, backdrop. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to go to my cozy. And these are good little tips to learn. That's why you pay me the big bucks, to go through what you won't have to. So now I've got the cozy and I'm going to open it. Now notice this is 42 by 56, but this cozy is just square. And when I measured the cozy, it was 4 down by 4.5 wide. So this is just a square. So I wouldn't need to reduce this picture and do everything I did before. But I could. I could right mouse click on here. I could define scale. I could come across here, say make this 4.5. Okay. And then let's fit it to screen. And now I would have this. Let's check it. This is 4.5. Yep. And if I come from the top down, I've got about 4.25, more or less. But what I would do on this, since it's a perfect square, I wouldn't go to that trouble. I would come in here, and what I would do is I would come to our shapes, because there's always more than one way to do things. I would come to our custom shape. I would draw me a square. I would select it, come to the size it. Width is going to be 4.5, and I'm going to take main tag aspect ratio off so I can make it 4 tall. And I'm going to apply. So this is the space I'm going to use to do the can type cozy. What are we going to do here? Well, here we're just going to go ahead and turn this into stitches, a run stitch. I'm going to go ahead and make that a 3.0. It's going to stitch out, single run, no problem. That will stitch out. Again, you'll put your design in here. So maybe on this one, you would like to go to the library, go to our free monthly designs, and let's go to July, and let's try maybe 2018, see what's there. Okay, maybe he did those in June, so let's go back to our library, and let's try a June 2018. Let's go to our designs. Yeah, there's some fun designs. Ooh, there's some fun summer designs. Let's do, let's just do, it's the 4th of July. What the heck? And we can do this. This is applique, if you notice. So I could come in here and pull this. That design is too big. So I'm going to just bring it down. Place it in here. And I can select this, holding my control key, select your square as well. We're going to come right here to our align icons, and I'm going to come to center those objects. So now that has been centered. What do we need to do now? Now we're going to, we'll stitch, this will stitch first. Okay, then it'll stitch out our design. That is an applique on that 4. I believe it's an applique. Yep, it's an applique. Let's watch. Let's do it slower so you can see. There is that. Now you're going to see there's the 4. You're going to place your pre-cut. I would pre-cut fabric. What would I do? Let me show you what I would do just to make this real easy for you. I'm going to go ahead and select this number 4. I'm going to select it. I'm going to right mouse click copy. I'm going to open a new piece of paper. I'm going to right mouse click and paste. Now, this is the exact cut file I need for my 4. Now, there's 2 ways to do it. If you use a digital cutter, I would file, save as, and I would drop this down and I would come to my SVG file. Every cutter on the market reads it. So I would save it as an SVG. I would use the fabric. I would iron it onto our Applique Wonder or our Quilters Select Applique Stick, either one. And I would put it on my mat and cut this 4 out perfectly. If you do not use a cutter, we're going to have to do it a little different. We are going to mirror image the 4. You are then going to file, print preview, and let's go back to this design just a sec. Whoops. Let me go back to my 6 design. Let me close print preview for a moment. Let me turn this into black, because not only can you not see it, but why would we want our ink to do a color? There we go. So now we're going to go to File, Print Preview. This will print. You will put Floriani Applique Wonder or Quilter Select Applique Stick in your printer, and you will print this out. This side is printable, the other side is fusible. So you'll fuse it to the back of your fabric, then with scissors you can cut your 4 out. Either way, that's the way to do applique in the hoop. We don't like to cut in the hoop if we can possibly avoid it. So let's go back to 5. So I would put my placement line, lay my fabric down. So here we go. There's my placement line. I'm going to put my fabric in no matter how I cut it. Then it's going to tack down those edges, and it's a raw edge, so that's pretty cool. It's got a raw edge on it. Now I would go ahead and stitch the rest of this out. So now my design, what are we missing? We're missing our construction stitches. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and right mouse click on my grid, and I'm going to go to grid settings, and I'm going to say, you know what? Set this at 1/4 of an inch. Now, like I said, this could be smaller. This could be 1/8 of an inch. This could be 0.12. That's holds well. So I'm going to put 1/4 of an inch and say OK. Turn that grid back on, and now I'm going to select everything on my page, and I'm just going to scooch it over till that outside line is lined up right here. See how I'm a little bit off? I'm going to come over. Let's go, guys. Oh, I have to get out of redraw. Sorry. Now, I'm going to come right over till that's on top of that line. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pencil. I'm going to do my artwork. I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to come and I'm going to go on this 1/4 of an inch line. I'm going to go down to the bottom, left mouse clicks, right mouse click. Then I'm going to left mouse click right here, and I'm going to left mouse click here, and right mouse click. Now that those are done, remember they are artwork. So I'm going to come down in ours, and I'm going to grab the one piece of artwork, hold your control key, grab your other one, and you know what, I'm just going to change the color of that too so it's in a different sequence. Now I'm going to change these to run stitches. So there's our run. We're going to go to 3.5, apply, come back up here. We want to do a bean style. We want to do 3 standards, apply. Now you have created the same thing for your can cozy as well. So whether you're doing bottles or cans, how simple and fun is this? You could simply put a name on it. You could simply put any kind of design on it. It doesn't matter. It's just fun. But it's summertime. It's good times to do this. I hope you learned something new in this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you next month in how to creatively repair holes in things. So we'll look at that. Have an absolutely wonderful month, and I look forward to seeing you in July.